Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, one? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast special, 150th podcast. Good 2-year run, 150 deep, several hundred left to go. But we got the whole crew on here for a Q4 special. We're going to dive super
guest, Danny.
tactical. Yes, we got the whole crew on today. It's very rare these days. We got some good projects going down and everything. We want to break down a lot of tactical Q4 stuff because we want to help you guys find that initial momentum to really do this stuff the right way, the way we did a couple years ago. So we break down cash flow management, scaling, how to source, Black Friday, FBM, all that kind of stuff. We have a whole list of topics we want to jam on. But how are we doing, everyone?
Doing great. Feeling better. Garrett, how you doing?
Life is good, my friends. Life is good.
Boom. Here we go. Right. So we have about a 45-day, pretty much 45 days exactly when we're recording this November 16th through the end of the year. Specifically, really kicking off the madness with Black Friday next week and even a lot of early Black Friday sales currently going on. Like Garrett and I were doing a bunch of early Black Friday sales sourcing on YouTube lately and
Print
such.
Just print it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And, really showing how easy it is to find products and such these kind of days. But there's a bunch of components that go into actually really crushing Q4. So we want to break down all this stuff. We do want to just start out talking all things merchant fill because I feel like that's the most actionable for everyone.
Yeah. Like what specifically about it we're about to jam on?
Sure. Well, there's like checklists you need to go through, right? So like, okay, most stuff becomes merchant fulfilled friendly in December. However, being that we're coming up on November 20th, November 25th, it makes sense to stop sending in FBA shipments, or at the very least, start listing stuff FBM in the 12 hours, 24 hours, 48, 72 hours before getting it sent out FBA, unless you're doing daily FBA shipments, right? To start testing stuff, right? Now, don't expect to get FBM sales prior to December 5th consistently, unless you're selling on listings other people are FBMing on. You're in 0-day handling time. Ideally, that's in your shipping settings. You just hit the gear menu, top right, shipping settings, general shipping settings, toggle on to 0-day. That's going to help you get a lot more buy box share. And ideally using your repricing software once you have like 10 plus days. That's the big thing, right? And then like, what are the big benefits of merchant fill? Like, because we've all used it a ton. I mean, Danny, especially you in the early days, like the summer a couple of years ago. But what are the big benefits of FBM?
Do you get your money back quicker? You send out units everything's just way faster. Everything's more sped up. And it's just a great time. You're able to document a lot of it on social media. But yeah, when I was doing FBM heavy, the main benefit was obviously it was Q4. And I couldn't send in the units even if I wanted to. So you just had to FBM. And then as a result of that, you can get your money back quicker. But the benefit is just getting units sold during Q4 while that rush is happening. Because honestly, like, unless it's a specific seasonal item, the only time a year I was really FBMing was Q4. That was the only time it made sense to merchant fulfill.
Well, there's so much value in really expediting that feedback loop, right? You don't even need the experience. You don't need the fluency with the data to crush it, this specifically Q4 in 2023, right? You don't need necessarily months and months, years of historical data to reference, right? Because you can just test out and use the data to drive your replenishments, right? You test out, you go a couple units deep in 6, 7, 8 different SKUs, right? A couple of them sell out pretty quickly. Well, which ones are you going to replenish? You restock those ones. And now again, you sell out again. And now you don't need to fall back on your experience. You can just rely on the current present day micro data to just fuel your entire purchases for the Q4, right? That's the power of really shortening the feedback loop, because you can really go deep on products without needing to have full confidence, because you gain the confidence with the proof, with the active data.
Yeah.
Another benefit to merchant fulfilling, which a lot of people don't think about, and there's nothing you could do about this, but depending on where you're fulfilling it, Amazon takes that into account. So like the shipment time to the buyer, they take that into account on who they're going to show in the buy box. So like if I'm the only merchant fulfill seller in New Jersey on a specific listing, all the people in the tri-state area are most likely, as long as my price is competitive, they're going to see my listing in the buy box compared to the sneaker seller in Oregon or whatever. And that's just a fact. That's how it is. So there's also an inherent benefit depending on where you are regionally for merchant fulfilled listings.
Yeah, big time too, especially because the nice thing is like most listings are going to have like between 10 and 30 sellers, especially anything that's good, right? 10 and 30, maybe even a little bit more. So yeah, you definitely get the regional buy box share. You can definitely really easily use buy box analysis on SellerAmp, look at where the buy box is actually going, be able to clean up on that stuff. In terms of supplies you guys want to have, so you want to have 9x12 and 12x15 polymers that you can just get from Amazon or really easily. You can get USPS boxes for free from USPS on their website. You can get 4x6 labels for free from the UPS website. A nice tape gun from Uline, although don't really worry about it. Tape gun's not.
Get the 3-inch tape gun. It goes so much faster.
It's like the air tape or whatever. We had that at the warehouse. It was
so much
incredible.
faster. Like if we're talking about efficiency, like if you're trying to be a fucking dog and you're sending out hundreds of FBM orders a day, like you need to be efficient. When I was using that bullshit 2-inch one from Staples, it would take forever. Got that one from Uline. I'm fucking like Superman.
Yeah, so when you get
like
so that,
literally Superman.
Yeah, 14x10x6 box range from Uline, Staples, Walmart, etc. are going to be helpful for stuff in the box lid. And then when you guys get the good tape gun from Uline, make sure you tag Danny at Wi-Fi Astronaut on Twitter too. With
the comfort handle. Get the comfort handle too. Your hand might hurt. Get the comfort handle.
But even still, with most of the stuff that people are going to be FBMing, I would just throw it in a poly bag. Yeah. I wouldn't even worry about boxes. You can throw that thing in a bag, rip the thing off, close it. You're good to go. The other thing I don't think we've mentioned it yet is you're going to add a couple dollars to your profits by shipping, typically first class, right? The clothes, the t-shirts, the small sports items, right? Those are all going first class. They're all under £1. And so in doing so, you're literally adding $1.50, $2.75 directly to your margins. That is again just added cushion.
Yeah, and the polymer doesn't weigh much.
Definitely shipping first class is great. Definitely want to go to your house of worship, or if you don't have one, that's fine. Say a prayer, because USPS is sometimes horrible. But
if you're shipping on time, you're protected. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no.
But that is a good point though. And so like timing is good. What is, Miles, do you have a strategy in terms of like a specific template you're sending for people to essentially tell them that you're not responsible for delivery dates and things are probably going to be delayed?
Yeah, there's some good ones on Twitter I've seen in like the seller forums, and the order not received but tracking shows delivered. We have one too. Anyone shoot me a DM. I can send anyone that is interested on just socials in terms of like dealing with that. But that's the end of that. You're honestly like really, really, really gonna rarely need that. Like you really got to be screwing stuff up for a lot of people to hit you up. And also just in general, guys, with the 0-day handling time, occasionally you might have to buy the shipping labels a day before, ship them the next day. As long as it's not happening at scale, you'll be fine. Like here and there, and like, certain things like that are naturally going to come up. It's worth it to put in that extra time to get in 0-day handling time just to skyrocket your buy box share, sell items away faster, because you need to fight, scrap, and claw to build that initial momentum and have that first ace and you sell 20 in a day, have that first ace and you sell 30 or 40 or 50 in a day. That's where you're really going to make your money with the stuff, is going to be in those core ASINs. I know exactly when we all found our initial momentum, it was probably from a lot less ASINs than most people will think, but it's from really high quality ASINs that you have to work really, really hard to find. And everyone's goal listening to this pre-Black Friday should be to test as much stuff as possible Black Friday, FBM, list it right when it touched down. I know Danny used to even list up before it arrived if you really trusted the retailer, right? So you can really start to learn and sell products a lot quicker.
As soon as it shipped out of the retailer and I knew it was coming to me and I trusted the retailer and I knew like they don't screw things up, hell yeah, I'm listing that thing. Absolutely.
What was the first like home run bolo that we all were after? Was it the Floby? Was that the first?
Well, Air Force Ones were pumping. This was also 3 years ago, so there was a lot less competition on stuff too. Yeah, but definitely the Flobies. And like, remember, Danny, you shipped out a bunch of those with the suggested retail on the thing.
Well, with the receipt in
the
box.
No, the invoice. Yeah, the receipt. Because it looked like it was like taped from the manufacturer. I thought I was breaking like a security seal if I opened it.
Didn't even bother opening that boy.
Because I thought it was like a security seal, and it turns out the invoice was in there.
Yeah, and what's cool too, if you guys go back, you can look on the Floby. It's just like, I think that brand only has one SKU. On Amazon, you can see the price going up in real time, like February of 2021, March of 2021, April of 2021. The key is you can use Keep a Product Finder and look at stuff that's going up in demand, right? That column way over on the right, 50% plus. Or you can look purely at stuff that's going up in price or going down in competition and see the best listings in real time. You don't have to guess at all. Another really good sourcing method is if you see products that went to the moon last December, go in the buy box statistics on Keepa and hit data, buy box statistics, 365-day view, go to average price, filter it top to bottom, and then you can look at the big brain sellers that sold that product at the moon last year. Those are the smart people that really capitalized last year. They're going to have other listings for you to go ahead and take a look at this year and capitalize on as well. And that's going to be an incredibly good method to use during Black Friday. Both going and sourcing for those products that performed well last year. You should be using the Seller Amp one-click export Google Sheets to do that, as well as opening up the storefronts of people and storefront stalking them and taking a look at what they're selling as well.
Yeah, another good way to prepare for FBM stuff, you could, if you really want to be super efficient, you could limit order quantities to 1 and then pre-package everything, and then you just label it and send it out, and that's how you can be super. At least that's how I was super efficient. I would just order limit to 1, and then it limits your risk to on refunds and returns because they could only return or refund one of them. So order limit to 1. Don't try to cheat out Amazon out of the 0 day by shipping it 8 days later or whatever, because I think they take everything into account. I think they do. Like I always ship shit out on time, and I was always destroying the buy box out of everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing too is like you're like any of us, when you're deep on a listing, you reprice it so much more often. So you're because you have so much more invested in as well. Like you need to be using a repricing software as well. To dial that in. I had a good point because you were talking about, you're talking about actually fulfilling orders and just order quantity limits in general. The way you do that is you go in Seller Central, you go to inventory, click the SKU, bottom left, edit listing, and then add a max order quantity. That hides your stock counts from other sellers as well, which is absolutely crucial because bozo new sellers will be like, okay, this guy's 96 in stock. There's no way I'm gonna get the buy box over him. Meanwhile, they have no idea if you're across the country and they could get the buy box easily, even higher than you to buyers that are near them. So definitely be adding max order quantities because it hides your stock counts and it protects you against black hat sellers. Remember those wars we used to go get into back in the day with China?
Yeah, that stuff still happens, I think.
It's not anywhere close to as much though.
Well, no, there's still bots on Amazon that do buy cancels. That's still a thing.
Yeah, just not as much.
But you can fix it now by setting order limits. And it's good too, because you don't, and then I think the newer seller, when they're setting an order limit, they'll be like, oh, well, what if someone wants to order like 20 of my item? That's never going to happen. And if it does, net over the course of your selling career, it's more beneficial to sell one item to 20 different people than 20 of the same items to one person.
Well, and 2 items of 2 are or orders of 2 typically are cool because you end up arbitraging the shipping a little bit, make a couple bucks extra profit. Same thing with orders of 3 on most products, but like in general, if purely the goal is efficiency, then definitely those max order quantities of 1. Otherwise, just do like 3, and you'll be good to go as well.
Because you want to hide your inventory from other sellers.
Sure. So like the big thesis just off the FBM side of things, guys, is right. So with FBM, you can sell listings like basically 3 weeks quicker, right? So you can order something today, theoretically list it early, it arrives Sunday, the 20th or whatever that day is, and then move it fast, ship it fast, replenish fast. That's where you make your money, guys, is when you go deep on stuff, and there's no reason to go deep on unproven listings if you're at all worried about it. Right, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so in terms of actually sourcing during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the nice thing is as you guys are listening to this, there are already way more than I remember last year, early Black Friday sales going on. So there's already a lot of really good opportunity. But overall, like how should people be sourcing, especially if this is their first Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Like I got some input in terms of like where they can be finding leads. What are your guys' thoughts?
Peabody?
In a couple of different ways, depending on what sort of experience you have, right? If you have certain brands that you've proven success with, I would kind of really replicate what Miles and I were doing a couple of days ago, right? Start with some of the bigger sites, sales that are going on, Champs, Foot Locker, that sort of thing, and use that to drive your sourcing, right? Relative to how much experience you have, it'll be pretty quick to find profitable stuff, given that those products are so heavily discounted. Right, that's going to be kind of method 1. And then method 2, and honestly, probably just as productive, is using your proven brands and just reverse source based on listings you already sell, right? Look for other variations, that sort of thing. So you can either go about it both ways.
And what cool part too is especially like manual and reverse sourcing really build off each other. Say like jockey, for example, you haven't really looked at jockey much, but you find one good jockey item and then you storefront stock. There's 9 sellers on that listing. 3 of them have 5, 6, and 12 other jockey listings. You're probably gonna be able to find some stuff there as well too. I think spreadsheets, just one-click export spreadsheets of products that went to the moon last year. Storefront stocking, the people that sold those products at the moon last year is helpful. Going back to your old leads is incredibly underrated, right? So go back and look at like your profitability, what sold the most, the stuff you have in the back of your head that you have affinity to. See if you can reorder those. Do manual sourcing on your favorite sites. You can waste a ton of time doing manual sourcing on unproven websites. So I wouldn't really recommend just going in and doing that. You want to be hanging out and kind of where's already worked, right? So that whether that be reverse sourcing XYZ brands, sourcing your old leads, manual, and you really just want to be finding new rabbit holes to go down. On top of that, just in terms of like knowing where to look, you should have a decent idea of what you want to buy going into Black Friday if you do it right, and where you want to buy, right? BlackFriday.com aggregates a lot of data in terms of past Black Friday sales, which is pretty cool as well. And then just in general, right, you want to be testing as many things as possible because your sole priority, if your goal is that first 30, 40, 50, 100, 150, 200K, like big month, right, where you can really, really live off it, right? That's going to come from a lot less ASINs than you think, but you have to test so much to find those core ASINs. Like specifically with you guys, like I know what it's like, what do you think is the most revenue you've done from one specific ASIN in 1 month? Mine's like probably like 120. Yeah.
I mean, that's probably more
a little bit over 200 probably.
Yeah, which is insanity. Yeah.
Well, you would deal with a lot higher ticket items.
Yeah, the ASP is a lot higher.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, dude, they were fucking flying. Shit was flying.
But like, there's so much, and like drilling into those specific ones that you've proven, there's so much value in that, right? People underestimate what you can learn from the other 5, 10, 15, 20 sellers.
It just like goes to show you gotta just keep swinging. And in terms of swinging, creating new or getting on new listings, and eventually you're gonna it's a matter of time before you just find a home run. It's just a matter of time.
But that's the thing, right? You don't find replenishable items, you don't find home runs, you find singles, and they prove themselves to become, okay, a single now turns into a triple, a single turns into a home run by the data staying stable, the market staying stable, the offers continuing to stay stable, and your ability to replicate that purchase, your ability to continue to acquire that product. That's what makes it a really, really good product, right? You don't find it and be like, oh, this is it. This is a home run. This is going to change my life. No, you find good products. And over time, you string enough of these together, you string enough singles, and ultimately you have a successful business because of it.
There's an important thing you mentioned. You keep finding products. A lot of people, they'll find like a home run, and if they go from like never making any money a month to like 10, 15K, and then they kind of stop, get stagnant, and then eventually, a replen's only a replen for as long as it's profitable. Eventually, it could come down. Over the course of all of my products, that tends to be what happens. Over the course of a few years, depending on the product and the brand, it's going to come down. So you have to be constantly sourcing to insulate yourself and
diversify,
keep growing your business. Yeah, because you can't rely on that one product, because there will be a day when all the people from Turkey decide to start selling that product, and it's not authentic, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and what a home run item looks like too, just in general, is it's like, okay, you buy it today, you buy 12 units today, early Black Friday sale, right? 7 of them sell the first day you get them listed FBM, right? Potentially even early because you listen to Uncle Wi-Fi, right? He told you, what I mean, if you trust reading,
or cousin.
And then so 7 sell the first day, and then the other 5 sell overnight, right? So you buy 30 of them. But the key here is, it arrived, and now it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, right? So you're like, all right, like I'll wait till tomorrow, right? The website turns on the Black Friday sale at 7 p.m. on Thanksgiving. Now that item's 5% cheaper, but it's also selling for 3% more because there's less competition now, right? So now you buy 100, right? You sell 100 in 4 days, right? Now it's December 2nd. And while that Black Friday sale ended, or that website has a 10% coupon, so you can still get it for 10% more expensive, but the market's trending up, right? So now you buy another 100, maybe it's a 32% RO rather than the 38 that it was. But by the time it comes in, you're doing your thing, you're repricing the way it should be, you're dragging the market up. Now it might be a 40% ROI, right? And it's December 5th. So the volume's a lot higher too. So now those 100 units sell out in 2 days, and now you can get 300 of them. That's how you do it, right? Like you're not going to know the perfect ASIN immediately. You're going to be able to make progress fast in just a couple of weeks by gradually testing more and more, repricing the right way, being in 0 to handling time, taking the time to do it. Maybe that is from a Dick's Sporting Goods or a Kohl's or a Walmart, and you can order pick up a bunch. and you can traverse around wherever you live, Orange County, and hit all the Walmarts there and pick all them up, sell them same day. And then you toss a tweet up, you tag the Wi-Fi astronaut, the All Out Amazon, Flish Miles, Billy Flips, Fields of Profit, right? 0-day handle time, right? You tag all the boys, right? Jimmy FBA and such, and Pete's Flips, Max Catalan, etc. Right? And you get it in there and everything, right? So that's the way you do it, right? In terms of just overall, like, let's dig into the explosive growth side of things, right? Because everyone wants to have explosive growth. You see a lot of it this time of year, but why do some people get it and some people don't?
I think it's because they don't stop sourcing. If you don't stop sourcing and you're constantly looking for new products and to grow your business, you're eventually going to find what you're looking for. And yeah, I think that's once you stop sourcing, your business is dying. Even if it's staying stagnant, it's dying. You have to continue sourcing and growing. If it's not growing, it's dying. In terms of Amazon businesses, that's my opinion on it. If it's not growing, it's dying.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things to that, right? Obviously, everyone likes to make money, but the longer you can keep that money building, the longer you can compound that business growth, that business valuation, you're going to be better off, right? It's so appealing to make your first 10. Oh, I want to go buy something, right? You take out 8. Well, your business is suffering because of it, right? The longer you can keep that snowball building, the more power you have later on. Once you want to start to get into wholesale, once you want to go deeper on specific products, this and that. And once you have the value, the luxury of being able to triple down on bolos when they come out, right? So that sort of equity in the business is super helpful. And also just kind of creating that synergy with other Amazon sellers that you can source with, right? 4 or 5, 3 different Amazon sellers that are all not holding back, all committed to the mission. That's going to be so much more powerful than the single Amazon seller who's trying to do this all alone, right? There's no comparison to 4 sellers compared to 1, right? Because the fact of the matter is, with how big this Amazon space is, you and your 3 friends are not actually going to be competing with one another, right? That's not how this works. And so I think the reluctancy to accept that side of things is ultimately holding back a lot of people as well.
It's the fake comfort zone they give themselves. I'm not the type of person that's on social media a lot. All right, so perpetually just have to work way harder than the teenagers on Twitter that are okay with doing. All right, right? Because there's only 2 ways to find leads. You got to find it on your own, or you do it with the homies, right? The second one is way less work. It's way more fun. It's way more profitable, right? And such. So yeah, you just got to go in these communities, right? And find people that you would get along with, whether it be IRL or whatever, and build with them, right? It's what we did back in the day. We had a group chat, right? We would get on. Garrett showed us this cool tactical arbitrage stuff, and then I introduced Garrett to a whole bunch of other people. Now we still hang out with a lot of those guys today, right? And we were able to make progress so much faster in so much less time. Because if you and your homies are sourcing together, your feedback loop to know if something was a good purchase is maximum, maybe 45 minutes, as long as it's between 8 a.m. and midnight, right? Maybe max 45 minutes if one of the homies at the gym or whatever, you know what I mean? But say you don't have that, your minimum time to get feedback on a purchase, especially if we're talking FBA, is about 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even close in terms of who gets better results, right? You see it with Pete, Max, Sadiq, all these guys, Steven, right? Nick, that started 6 months ago, a year ago. They're all now clean in 6 figures in profit run rates. They're all going to make between 20 and 100K profit next month. And they work a lot less on a per output basis. And they have a lot more fun than the average Amazon seller because they do it together. And I know because I'm in the group chats with them and we have a bunch of fun doing it. We hang out with them back in PA.
What would you say a few of the common denominators between all those guys are? I'll give one of them. I know one of them is just simply being aggressive. So it's, aggressively sourcing, aggressively buying products they know are going to be successful. It's just, in my opinion, one of them is just being aggressive. So what do you guys think some other common denominators are, or like habits of?
Yeah, well,
I think it all comes back to being like an athlete growing up, right? Playing sports, participating in team sports. You get
if you weren't an athlete growing up,
well, that's the common denominator.
Yeah, well,
you can't go back and change your childhood.
Well, exactly, but you're not like long-term thinking, delayed gratification, and then like just team sports in general. Like
willingness to be uncomfortable is huge. Right,
yeah.
Because picking up the camera the first time is going to be uncomfortable, right? You have to rewire your brain.
Most people just will never do it. They just can't. They just can't do it.
Yeah, because
They
it's
just can't
something
do it.
new,
And
it's
then you
uncomfortable.
see time and time again, you see that first video on Twitter where he's talking like this, he's very nervous, and then a month later, boom, 8K first month.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, 36. And then
for
a year
people
later, 150. And now this kid doesn't have to work a job anymore. Ever. And the other guy is still sitting playing fantasy football, talking about his comfort zone and how he's shy.
Good point.
Yeah.
And for people that think this space is just continually saturated, they're extremely, extremely, extremely wrong. Like the people that just they'll throw out a cope or whatever about why they can't do it, or there's too many sellers.
Well, people have been saying it's
be friends
oversaturated
with
for 4 years.
Way before we started, yeah.
I don't know what the updated numbers are, but I know in 2021, you guys know this, in 2021, there was 60,000 sellers who eclipsed $1 million in sales. That's fucking it. Only 60,000 people in the United States sold $1 million in revenue on Amazon. That's like not a lot at all. I mean, considering over half of the population in the US has access to an Amazon Prime account, like, what are we talking? Like, that's insane. It's insane. And you know from firsthand too, when you get that first successful product, it because of the volume, it just doesn't seem real. You're like, there's no way this is happening.
You buy more and then you go try and get more. You get your hands on what, and a lot of you guys listening to this are going to see that next month. It's the first time you sell 30 or 50 of something in one day. You're like, holy crap. Like, I can't believe I just made my week salary at my 9 to 5 and in an hour, in 8 hours from a link that an anonymous Twitter account sent me on Discord. Like, it's like shit like that. Yeah.
And now Amazon just did an integration with Meta. I wouldn't be surprised if there's could be a few percent up to a double-digit percent growth in sales in Q4 because now there's integrated Amazon shopping on Facebook. Like that's
kind of that. I didn't hear about that.
That's a huge thing. The space. You need to be bullish on the space. It's just going to continue to grow, and it's the reality.
Well, this is unrelated, but like I was looking at the Amazon stock a couple of days ago. It grew over the past like year or two, like 135% or something. Like it's nutty.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I think they'll probably get broken up because AWS is like huge, but that's a whole other thing.
Got you. And
I think they get broken up.
Just in general, guys, with Black Friday coming up, it's really, really important that you understand that you're not really going to find OA products that are profitable. You're going to make them profitable, right?
Yeah.
Via discounts, sales, coupons, etc. So it's really important that you make sure that you know about Top Cashback, Raise, and Card Cash for discounted gift cards. It's a really, really helpful way to make products profitable. It's really important that you have Retail Me Not, Be Frugal, Honey, Capital One Shopping, Rakuten, Top Cashback. Those are all free extensions that are going to give you coupons. Coupon Birds one is really good too. And, that's the key is it's going to be making sure you have a burner email address that has accounts on all these websites. You get notified of different discounts that are going on. And it is very, very doable to change your life if you put in a ton of effort. And Garrett and I will be live streaming a lot next week, sourcing, helping talk you guys through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, etc., which would be pretty important as well. And then do 0-day handling time if you can. Make sure you have a repricer. Make sure you have FBM supplies. Make sure you're prepared to fulfill a bunch. December 5th to the 15th are going to be the best days of the entire year. Do pick up orders if you can for retail arbitrage. Get stuff in hand same day. Get products listed as quick as possible. Do what other people aren't willing to do, and you'll be able to get results other people can't.
Yeah, 100%. And if someone on Instagram is in a Lambo in a warehouse offering you wholesale deals, you'll probably get your Amazon account banned if you buy those.
So that. And as you're shipping out these FBM orders, guys, toss up the tweets, right?
Stay off Telegram, guys. Stay off Telegram.
Yeah, definitely that. Toss up the tweets of the FBM orders daily, right? We got the FBM Cup. Follow the FBM Cup on Twitter account, right? Twitter.
Dan's the type of dude to not know about the FBM Cup.
No, I know about the FBM Cup.
No, I feel it.
And you know what? One thing for all of the older guys and women who are listening to this right now, and they're like, wow, look at all these kids. The FBM Cup, this is so childish. These dudes are going to make more money in 1 month than you made in the past 12 months because you're sitting there going, oh, this is childish.
Well, if we didn't already lose our older audience, now we did.
No, there's people. It's good to the mentality though. This is a team sport. That there's awesome people to learn and meet with,
and saying it's childish and saying it's a cope is just another excuse to why they're going to stay there. I'm not going to finish what I'm about to say, but it's just you need to just get through. They have these mental barriers and these mental blocks, and they just can't seem to get past them because they think they're older and more wise. Like, newsflash, you're not.
The FBM orders don't care. They just need fulfilling.
Yeah.
Items
There's no
need to be
face.
sourced.
No one
They don't
can
care.
see your age on your Amazon account. That's why 18-year-olds out of their, that's why we were able to run it out of our garage. Like you, like it's just absolutely rail fucking FBM during
Yeah,
Q4.
you got to be, yeah, that's good terminology. You got to be turning up the FBM. And guys, our DMs are open too if you need anything, right? Wi-Fi astronaut, all at Amazon Full Smiles, right? We're here to help.
I don't need your services though.
You don't, oh, you don't need appointment setters?
Please stop pitching me. It's so
Please.
annoying.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Sweet.
Ruined.
All right, guys, get after it. If you want more Q4 stuff, go to howtofbm.com, q4secretsauce.com. There's some free guides app. Garrett and I posted a 2-hour sourcing video the other day on YouTube. Free course just dropped on YouTube too.
Is intro to Amazon.com up?
Oh, my bad. Intro to Amazon for the beginner stuff too is there. And we will see you guys in the next one.